course, Stephen, you would have a situation like this where opposition parties would be criticizing the president of the country, who also happens to be the president of the African National Congress. And of course, you would then also have ANC MPs also defending the president. And also, I've noted that some of them have actually outlined some of the work that has been done, because a lot of people have been complaining about how President Cyril Ramaphosa often during the State of the Nation address makes promises and does not give updates with regards to his previous SONAs and what his government has done. And that's exactly what ANC MPs have been trying to do, trying to basically come up to say this is what we've done. And of course, yesterday having the Democratic Alliance saying that they've tabled a motion of no confidence against President Cyril Ramaphosa's cabinet, his counterparts, basically the members of the African National Congress, coming out to hit back. And I'd like us to then listen to what they said in defense to that motion that has been tabled against them.
Localization is increasingly being supported by retailers, ShopRite checkers buying all their sugar from local farmers, Woolworths and Pick n Pay supporting local farmers. These initiatives are supported by government procurement policies, set aside for women and youth, and by master plan of economic reconstruction and recovery. And yet we must listen to those who want to tell us nothing is happening, nothing is being done, remove the whole cabinet. What is worse is come from members of parliament who are supposed to have some integrity and not use false statements to generate support for their parties or use deflection to detract attention away from their own problems.
Athi, it seems that some of the tone of this debate is getting quite personal at times.
Certainly. I mean, yesterday we saw that exchange between the Minister of Police and ANC MP with the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Julius Malema. You'd recall that Julius Malema mentioned when it was his turn to debate the State of the Nation address how he said that it was a miscalculated move to appoint the current minister, Bheki Cele, as the minister who is the former police commissioner, saying that he's often seen to be competing with the current police commissioner, Khehla Sithole, and hence the violence that we saw taking place in KZN without anyone quickly responding to it as a result of the squabbles that we're seeing in the police ministry. And then subsequently you had Bheki Cele also coming back and hitting back, saying that, well, he does not want to be patronized by Julius Malema because he is not appointed by Julius Malema. Only the president makes decisions on who to appoint and who to fire, and saying that this was a miscalculated move for him being appointed in the police office, saying is basically just patronizing him, to say the least. And then also today we also heard two political parties that have actually come out to agree with the president in his notion about how government cannot be able to create jobs and relies on the private sector to do that, saying that what government's responsibility is essentially is to create a conducive environment for the private sector to be able to create jobs for millions of South Africans. The IFP, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, agreeing with the president, as well as the ACDP agreeing with the president on that stance, but on the other hand criticizing the president for the lack of implementation in as far as some of the promises that he has made and the policies that have been drafted so beautifully in our country. But we also had the ACDP, Stephen, mentioning that issue of forced vaccinations, mandatory vaccinations, saying that they're still completely against them, and going as far as asking the president why we still have a national state of disaster when many countries have actually eased down on lockdown regulations. We know that President Cyril Ramaphosa last week Thursday mentioned that they will be making announcements soon in respect to the national state of disaster, and they are considering that they will do away with it. But of course, consultations need to be heard with scientists and people in the health sector to ensure that they're making the right decision as government.
Athi Mtongana, thank you very much indeed. More coverage from her, more reporting from her, more coverage from the situation in Parliament. I keep saying Parliament, I mean, of course, the Cape Town City Hall.